it happened by destroying the family and by removing the man from the family. So you have those single parent family homes, and most single parent family homes are predominantly woman single family homes. And that's the problem, right? So they're raised by women. So how can the boy be raised by a woman if he doesn't have a good, strong example of a man? I mean, that's not me being a chauvinist. That's me being a realist. And this is the real picture of the North America now and the Western world in general, or world in general, by the way. It's not just limited to the Western world. There's a lot of places like that. And unfortunately, what happens is the children are being attacked, and now they're being attacked even more so by all this transgender ideology and all those gender fluidity stuff. And it's sick because, for example, City DOE probing Marilyn Monroe themed drag show in NYC special needs school. So in Staten Island special needs school is under fire, allowing teacher in drag to perform a racy Marilyn Monroe themed skit, a talent show in front of the young disabled students. So basically, this individual, I don't know his or her or them pronouns, flashed something, Marilyn Monroe style thing in front of them. Not only kids, not only children, but mentally disabled children.
Yeah. Drag shows for special need kids. Really? A drag person is a person with special needs. Okay? They have this utmost need for attention, to stand out. They're consummate narcissists. This is not what you want a child to see, a person who needs mental help. Some of these children, they have special needs, but they can be helped. This is only going to hurt them even more. Any parent allows this. They should take some courses on proper parenting.
Well, and if you say it's harmless, and again, we've mentioned in a previous episodes when we tell you really protect your children. Really protect your children. Really watch where they're going, what's happening in school, because most schools have LGBTQ class and it's or group or club, and it's initiated by a teacher usually or librarian. And they blame it like, well, it's partially student initiative, but partially it's a librarian initiative. And we need to do it because we get extra World Economic Forum's money, right? Whatever it is. But if you say there's no harm done by, it's just innocent. He's just transgender. He's just having fun. He's pretending to be Marilyn Monroe. Tell it to the schoolgirl sexually assaulted in gender-neutral bathrooms in England. In Essex, a school has called in police over allegations that female pupils were sexually assaulted in its gender-neutral laboratories. It's all fun and games, right, Glenn?
Yeah, it looks like gender studies courses in real time. Like as if they knew this wasn't going to happen. There's people who want to take advantage of situations everywhere, and now it's being exposed again. The average person sees things a little bit late, but you know what? That's part of the game. This is the way it is, and that's part of the pendulum swinging process. So let it go.
So it's not so late. We're going to show you something so you understand those people are truly sick and they are after your children. Again, we're going to beat it.
Clarify this for a second here. I'm not saying that kink isn't kid friendly. I'm saying that kids and kink can coexist at Pride in a totally fine way. There's a nuance here that making an event,
first of all, what's its pronouns?
Kid friendly doesn't mean sanitizing it, aka taking something like kink out of Pride. Making Pride.
First of all, they don't deny it. So the Pride is not just, okay, oh, look at me, I have a different sexual preference. No, I'm also a perverted, demented monkey. It really is that. Like you just said it, look, they call it kink. But so walking around with a dog mask, wearing your tidy whities, as we showed on the previous episode, and, flopping your junk around in front of children, we call it kink. We just don't call it degenerate behavior, the perverted degenerate behavior, sex assault on children, but that's called kink. Okay.
Kid friendly is not the same thing as sanitizing Pride. Making a Pride event kid friendly, or I prefer kid safe, is about making sure we're including and putting kid and youth voices and including them in pride and particularly any justice spaces. Kids and youth voices are vital to justice movements because they are a vulnerable and marginalized group on their own.
Oh, it's justice. Okay, so language is important, Glenn. Go ahead, take it. It's a justice space. So it's a justice to pervert your kids.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was just going to say, well, at least it's nice to see a person, I never thought that, but a person could actually make TikTok shorts in a mental asylum. And this person is just showing it right there. Like, wow, there is some freedom left in America.
Well, by the way, we had actually our video from removed from the TikTok platform for something we mentioned in terms of, I think, authoritarianism. I think I put a video something to do with authoritarianism, and it was a straightforward video. There was nothing. Oh no, I know what it was. It was that demented video about the White House transgender flashing the nipples on the White House lawn. I didn't show that part, but that's the video was removed from the TikTok platform for violating community guidelines. Why this video wasn't removed by TikTok for violating community guidelines? So that's okay, right? That's okay to destroy your children, and that's how you know. Like, I mean, TikTok is the Communist Party owned and monitored platform, and it's specifically designed to debase the Western civilization by attacking your children through videos like this, for making your teenagers feel, oh, it's acceptable. You're already marginalized. You need to be, with other marginalized people. But she doesn't really mean marginalized. She means mentally sick, mentally unstable, right?
Selective indoctrination. There was a saying you used to say, you have to read between the lines. Now, with all the social media and the bots out there, you have to read between the lies. And you see it all the time when government, as soon as they're, government officials, as soon as they're moving their mouth, their lips, they're lying. It's so obvious. So that's why the people are losing faith in the mainstream media. Their numbers keep dropping. And, stuff like that. That's the reason why they want to keep platforms like ours off, is because we're slapping people with the truth.
But we allowed this to happen, didn't we? Didn't you say that? Isn't it your statement? We allowed this. How did it happen? We allowed this to happen. It didn't happen on its own.
Yeah, it usually happens in an environment when it's been too easy for too long, and the so-called leaders of this environment, the men, they become weakened. And the sharp men and the people at the top take more and more control as the weak men give up. So they were targeted, and the men allowed themselves to give up and be weakened, and this is the results from it. This is why you have the very low marriage rates today, because the young people grew up in families and they saw breaking up the families what it did, and so now they say, no, I don't want to be a part of that agenda. Plus there's a lot of people, young men, waking up to the fact that they see how a lot of men get really ripped off in the court system and the legal system, where they have their money taken away from them, and also a lot of them, they have their children taken away from them. And so a lot of men are saying, no thanks, I don't want to sign up for that. That's like a government contract, and there's they can't win at that. And so they choose to freedom. Freedom will always prevail, by the way, and this is another example of it.
What do you call this?
Why bring it up now? I'm bringing it up because what transpired from that video was...
Brown sisters, if you listen in, it's Dylan Mulvaney. It's a him. I refuse to refer to him as a her or a woman in any way, just because he's wearing makeup.
Plus, it's an insult to women.
To women in the dress. And it's pre-surgery, right? So he's capitalizing on this movement. He's probably making money. I don't even know if he's taking hormones or not, but it's beside the point. This is, okay, let's just watch a little bit of that. Glenn, tell me when you get sick and I'll turn it off.
As soon as you put it on, I got sick.
And transphobia than I could have ever imagined. And I should have made this video months
Referring to the whole Bud Light fiasco thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ago,
you know,
but I didn't.
Play
And I
it.
was
Let's
scared,
just listen to the crap.
and I was scared of more backlash, and I felt personally guilty for what transpired.
Who
so
cares?
I patiently waited for things to get better. But surprise, they haven't really.
Good news.
And I was waiting for the brand to reach out to me, but they never did.
Ta-da!
And for months now, I've been scared to leave my house.
Well, that's actually another good example. People like this are going to be exploited by corporations. That's just like, okay, you're popular right now in the moment. You're being used by corporations. Like, would it be a movie star or pop star like Britney Spears of the world and everything else? They will exploit you. They will capitalize on you to achieve whatever agenda they're into in the moment, and then they'll drop you so easily. And then it doesn't help. And look at Britney Spears of the world. Those are not most mentally stable people. And this is definitely not already from the beginning. I feel for it already.
And Dylan Mulvaney, you know, the media refers to it as a him, as a her, sorry.
As a her,
so
yeah.
it's originally it's a him, and that's all you're ever going to be. But when you know, you have the clown show going on, the most that I will ever say is, okay, I'll call you an it. Because you don't really fit. Like, you don't remind me of what a man should be. And definitely you don't remind me of what a woman should be. So you're lost. You're in Itsville. You're in it. And this is, well, let's take a look. Listen to it some more.
In public, I've been followed, and I have felt a loneliness.
That's a lie. There's no one following this thing.
And he says that, you know, he's felt lonely, and he and I and he and me and I and obviously just a narcissist doing everything for attention and loving it. And now he's just saying how he feels. Again, you know, feeling. That's not really a masculine trait. So it is playing to the other side. But you know, a lot of women don't like this. I mean, there's a lot of women who don't like this.
A lot of women. Baby.
But they don't speak up too much as we do, you know, because that's normal. We are by nature leaders in society. We are supposed to stand up and say when things like that don't make sense or are completely illogical.
This is an attack on our women.
Yeah.
On our
exactly.
women.
That I wouldn't wish on anyone. And I'm not telling you this because I want your pity. I am telling you this because if this is my experience from a very privileged perspective, know that it is much, much worse for other trans people. For a company to hire a trans person and then not publicly stand by them is worse, in my opinion, than not hiring a trans person at all.
Oh, that's what I just said. Oh, man. So this thing agrees with me on what I just said. They just felt it at full ground. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys with mental issues, not brothers and sisters who are stable and watching our shows, but people who have, you know, mental issues. And they're usually people on the spectrum, like you said, Glenn. They're looking for attention. This is a prime example of what happens when the tides will shift. You will be left alone dealing with your mental issues by yourself. Nobody will care. You will be swept under the rug. And a lot of you will commit suicides, unfortunately, because you don't have that stable foundation and stable support around you, because nobody's interested in doing it. Nobody's interested in your mental health. Everybody's interested in exploiting you for whatever purposes. They don't care about you. We do, brothers and sisters. We do. And that's why we're doing this show. And that's why we're telling you this. We're not here to divide and conquer or spew hate. No, we love you. And it's hard for us. We don't care of repercussions of what happens to us because we have been silent for too long. We are not going to be silent anymore. Bill C-18 and Bill C-11 isn't going to stop us. The truth will find a way to come out.
All because it gives customers permission to be as transphobic and hateful as they want. And the hate doesn't end with me. It has serious and grave consequences for the rest of our community. And you know, we're customers too. I know a lot of trans and queer people who love beer, and I have some lesbian friends who could drink.
It's exactly what you are. I'm done with this, Glenn. It's exactly what you are. You're a customer. You're a customer of this whole transgender industry. You know, hormone intake, upper surgery, lower surgery, I don't know,
Perverted mentality in real time, manifesting as though this is the new norm. And somebody saying what we just said, we've been saying right now, that would be labeled what the media and the governments are trying to label that as a hate crime. Okay?
What, the truth?
Yeah, the truth hurts. You hate to be hurt? We're just saying what most people think. I always say that. And but what most people think now is starting to get more in the real time activation, and this is going to start diminishing, and it'll go away a lot quicker than it came. Yesterday was the last day of Pride Month, so I guess they'll have to wait till next year, and then we could start rigging up our shows on this.
Well, maybe hopeful thinking. Maybe there'll be no more Pride Month. Oh, maybe they'll ramp it up to a summer of Pride, like Rachel Levine said in her address a few days ago.
Give them a Pride Day. Okay, that's cool. What do you know what I mean? Have your little Pride parade. One day.
Brothers and sisters, if you chose to be gay and that's your sexual preference and activity, nobody can stop you. It's your choice. And we live in a free country, as far as I'm concerned. So that's what you exercise, what you exercise. That's not what we're against. We're against here is attack on our children, attack on our way of life. And if you're saying that children belong to you or the state, and for you or for the state to decide how to mutilate our children, then we have a problem with that. Right? So we're talking about adult choices. If by the time you're an adult and you choose to do one thing to yourself and to your body, nobody can stop you. That's your choice. And there's always going to be business to exploit your mental thing. But if you're going to be a parent and somebody else coming into your house and want to repossess your children because you don't fall into the party line thinking, then I have a problem. And if you think it's all fun and games still, this movie coming out, this TV show, Hidden War coming out, and I don't know why we're promoting, we're not getting paid by that. But also, don't take your children to Disney. Definitely don't have them watch any of the, gender fluid movies. Glenn, do you ever see this? The Disney thing, like they every few months they catch a pedophile working at Disney, or like a pedophile ring on top of that.
And then there's Paul Val. He's 40 from Davenport. He's married. He works at Disney World at Cosmic Ray's Restaurant. In fact, he just recently moved to Polk County from Indiana, and he moved here specifically to work at Disney World. Well, back in the day, they arrested Willie Sutton for robbing banks. He was a notorious bank robber. And they asked Willie Sutton, "Hey, Willie, why do you rob banks?" And he said, "Well, that's where the money is." Well, why do people like Paul Val work at Disney? Because that's where the children are. And they want to be around children. He had 540 counts of child pornography from newborns to 8 years of age. He also had videos. And he was a sadomasochist. There was photographs where they had tied up babies in preparation for sexual.
Okay, that's just sick. We can listen to it and we can finish the video and it'll just get you a little bit more off balance. And we don't want to do that, brothers and sisters. We just want to show you that attacking your children is everywhere in this world, in your schools, on the TV, on the internet screens, keep the electronic devices out of the hands of your children at all cost. At all cost. Do not take them to places like Disneyland, Disney World, where they have transgender, bearded, and mustache men selling them princess dresses. Do not take them to the Pride events. Do not take them to any of the stuff where you're supposed to protect your children from all the worldly stuff. Introduce them to a traditional family. Introduce them to a Bible, to introduce them to God. Whatever your denomination, whatever your religious or spiritual background is, if you don't have one, find one. This is the thing that will save you and your kids. Glenn, we got to close the show. Any last remarks?
Yeah, this pedophile, this guy's so sick, he can't be human. So, You know, there are people who say, and I have a bit of belief in that too, that, you know, you should, if this guy is convicted, he should be eliminated from the planet. Then you have the woke, the left, you know, the people who feel sorry for everything, saying, oh, no, but it's not his fault. You know, he was born that way. No, that's the choices he's made. Nobody's born a pedophile. And if it's not his fault, then what is it? Society's fault? It's our fault. That's why we should keep him around. What good are we going to learn from this person? What we could learn is what not to do. And how you show the population and young people what not to do is you eliminate this person from the planet. Because, like I said, that's inhuman.
And it's really a tough choice, right? Like, how do you do it? Because we're supposed to love our brothers and sisters. We're supposed to turn another cheek, but you also have a primary duty to protect your family, to defend your children, to defend your family from the pure evil that is out there. Yeah.
Champ, I just want to say one little thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
If humanity could kill Jesus Christ and do it so painfully, I think humanity could get rid of this sick person and do it not painfully.
And hurt people hurt. This person obviously is in a lot of pain. And this person's in a lot of pain because nobody loved him when he didn't experience the fatherly love, heavenly fatherly love. Because he probably, if we dig in deeper, he probably grew up without the father or with an abusive father or whatever it is. It's definitely not the family that he didn't grow up in a family that was loving and kind and disciplined with good foundation. And I bet you anything that's what it is. So based on this, brothers and sisters, come on, you need to be the king in your family first, a righteous king. And I'm addressing men. You cannot be king if your family is disarray, if your family is in dysfunction. You cannot be king anywhere else outside of your household. So step up with your discipline. Step up with your manhood. Go to the gym. Become a righteous man. Go to the church. Spread love and kindness and peace, but with hard work. And if you don't work hard, man, then you're not man at all. And on this note, we'll see you on the next one.